Folks, today Matt and I are breaking out the haterade and giving you 10 players that you must avoid as we enter the busiest fantasy draft weekend of the year on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominick Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Ahne, and you can find him on Twitter at Matthew_Ahne. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It will subscribe you to the channel and give you a notification every time we drop a new episode. Or if you're listening on the audio side of things on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. And lastly, most importantly to Matt and I and you guys this time of year, give us a chance on the Subtext platform. I know you guys' drafts are coming up soon, and you need that like little cheat code, that secret weapon that's going to give you the edge over your opponents, and that's going to be Matt and I on the Subtext platform. Right now, you're going to get our 2025 rankings, sleepers, breakouts, bust, exclusive access to ask us any of your keeper and dynasty questions. So if you are interested in joining us on Subtext, the link is in the bio, wherever you're listening, watching, or it's available on any of our social media platforms. And all right, Matt, I mentioned it up top. I don't know if you have it handy. I don't know if the haterade's on deck. But we're breaking it out today. There it is. It's handy. If you're watching on the tubes, Matt's got it out. And by that, I mean the haterade. So we got 10 names. You want to call them bust, must avoid players, however you want to break it down. And here's the thing. Going to preface this up at the top, folks. When we say bust or must avoid players, it's mainly due to where they're being drafted. Doesn't mean they're not going to have a good year. It doesn't mean they're, not going to perform well. Who knows? They might even outperform expectations and do well. But Matt and I have pinpointed these names for today's episode. And Matt, my brother, I know you got a good one up first for us. So why don't you take it away from here, my friend?
Yep, and well said. So for me, it's all about ROP, return on pick. And this first guy, I think, literally is the depiction of, are you actually going to get return on pick? And that ROP is not coming through with William Contreras. William Contreras is a phenomenal catcher for the Milwaukee Brewers. And if you're a phenomenal fantasy asset, if he was going about 60 picks later. William Contreras is literally coming off the board at, hold on, I'm sorry, because, my life is just boatloads of fun today. Wrong thing here. Here we go. It's coming off 32. 32. Overall, guys. Overall. What? Oh, that's why, because I was on pitcher. William Contreras as a catcher going off the board at pick 32 is bunkers. Why would we do that to ourselves? Let's talk about what he did last year and then talk about guys that are going around him. And that's really just what it is. William Contreras last year had a really good year for a guy that played catcher. 595 at-bats, 99 runs, 37 doubles, 2 triples, 23 bombs, 92 ribs, 9 stolen bases, and batted a really nice 281. He had a really good season last year. But I'm also going to say this, career high year in almost every category. Now, I understand the team is better, but, this was an exceptional year. And the guy's talented as hell. He's only 26 years old. It's only going to get better. But, dude, beats the 13 more runs than the year before, and that was his career high year. 6 more home runs, 20 and almost 20 ribbies more, and batting average is on par. We can always count on him for that. On top of that, let's talk about who's going around him. That's the real one, right? Do you think he's going to have a better year than Manny Machado? Do you think he's going? Do you think he's going to have a more bigger contribution than Corbin Burns, Chris Sale, Pete Alonso, Corey Seager, Cole Reagans, Dylan Cease, Kyle Schwarber? I think not.
Yeah, I still haven't found one that I'd say that he's going to be more of an asset than.
More guys going. O'Neal Cruz, Jose Altuve, Emmanuel Clase, Blake Snell, Wyatt Langford, Brent Rooker, Michael Harris, Ozzie Albies. Are you picking William Contreras over any of those guys?
Absolutely not, especially not Michael Harris.
All right. Definitely not Michael
Harris. We might have to talk about him later. Who knows?
Yeah. So like that is really where you're at with it, right? It's not a matter of talent. He's one of the most talented players in the league. It's just the return on the pick is just not going to be there. He would need to get another, 10 runs, 10 ribs, about 5 more home runs to outpace any of these guys. And I don't think that ceiling is there. If anything, I think there's some negative regression coming, and we see more of a 2023 season, which is still the number, catcher one. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't think that the catcher one belongs this high. And regardless of the fact, William Contreras just is the hype has gone way too far.
Yeah, man, I think you said it perfectly at the end. The value of catchers has kind of risen too high in general, for at least the most part, the higher end guys. And there's hint hint, there's another catcher on this episode, for a reason. I agree with everything you said about Contreras. I still think I still think he could be as good as he was last year, especially if the team continues to thrive with Churio, and the rest of them boys doing their thing. So I don't really see much super aggression. Maybe the counting stats a smidge, like I said, if the team's not as good, but the power's legit. He's got to hit for a good batting average. It's just that the ADP is crazy, and I wanted to point this out too. So I kind of narrowed down NFBC, which is the National Fantasy Baseball Championship, which is people that pay to play fantasy baseball, so they're putting some sort of stakes into it. William Contreras over the last month, 283 drafts done over that time, pick 23 on average. And Matt, we'll play the same name game he did before. In this context, he's going over Zach Wheeler, Trey Turner, Jackson Merrill, Freddie Freeman, Austin Riley, Logan Gilbert. I'll leave it there. Enough said.
Yeah.
There's no way that you take him over any of those guys. If the catcher, the context of catcher, is a little bit more realistic in like your home league, which I know a lot of you guys play in, and you can get catchers later. Yeah, if you can get William Contreras in the 8th, 9th round, at that point, yeah, maybe you want to look into, grabbing your first catcher. If the way you're building your thing, building your team. Yeah, maybe you can start looking at him at that point. And even at that point, it's a little questionable, but you can still look in that direction. Or if you're getting him that late in a home league, like a home 12-man league, yeah, you could take that kind of look at him. But otherwise, you kind of don't really just look his way at that point. There's so many other ways you need to be looking to build your team with the value of, position. Outfielders, are thinning out at that point, and you're going to pay a top 30, 40 pick on a catcher when you could kind of wait and maybe not get as great production, but you can get, hey, there's guys that hit for average, there's guys that hit for power, there's guys that, going to give you counting stats, and you can kind of fill it out, your team a bit differently without paying so much for a high-end catcher. Matt, do we have time to sneak this guy in? I didn't realize how much time we spent talking about William Contreras.
We could start it. And then worst case, we could finish it on the other side.
Yeah.
So more.
Yeah, so we can keep this one kind of short. I'll say this because it kind of is almost the same context. Adley Rutschman is my first must-avoid player. And once again, kind of just all comes down to ADPs coming off the board as the 63rd pick overall. Yeah, there's a chance that Adley, really figures everything out and takes that next step. But at this point, I kind of feel like we've been waiting for 2 years and haven't seen it yet. I know he's still only going to be 27 this year. But hey, he came up as a 24-year-old in 2022, played 113 games. We got a taste. Expected to break out in 23, didn't really happen. 20 homers, hit 277. Okay, so then 2024 has to be the year, right? Nope, doesn't happen. Takes a kind of step back in every direction. The underlying stats looked, really, really bad. So I don't see why we're going to pay, the price for Adley. He played 148 games last year too, which is crazy. He hit one less home run. The walks to strikeouts took a step back. He struck out 103 times, only walked 58. And once again, it's 148 games played. So I'm not doing the Adley Rutschman thing this year. Kind of once again, same context of, William Contreras, not paying that high for my, catcher, not going to play the name game like we did with William Contreras, but there's so many other names going around that time that you're going to get so much more production out of than 20 homers, maybe a 265, 270 batting average, decent counting stats. So with that being said, guys, before Matt gets to turn around and, speak on Adley Rutschman, we are going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with you guys. And all right, are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? You need to crack into a good source of protein with wonderful pistachios. Wonderful pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller for longer. Personally, I love the no-shell variety. Guys, I told you this last time. I had to steal them from my dad a couple weeks back, and then I went and bought my own bag, and then I had to go buy another bag because they're never safe at my house. Because you know what? They're a perfect grab-and-go snack on those busy days, whether I'm snacking at my desk, or I'm on a road trip, or you just need that quick protein boost after the gym. They're always my go-to. And even if you love cracking open shell for that super satisfying crunch, the in-shell option are a super classic favorite. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein crunch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more today. And guys, once again, real quick, I need to talk to you guys about the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast Diamond Club on the Subtext platform. Guys, as you go into draft weekend, once again, how are you getting that competitive edge over your league mates? I'm sure some of you play in like super competitive leagues like Matt and I do in our home leagues. We have, some leagues where everybody is really on top of it. And we're going to help get you over the top, because we're out here winning championships and we want you guys to do the same thing on Subtext. We're going to get our 2025 ranking, sleepers, breakouts, BUSTS, text messages, links right to your phone. Nobody else in the industry is offering, what we're offering to you guys. So like I said, it's almost that cheat code, secret weapon that's going to put you over the top. So, give us a chance on the Subtext platform. Link is in bio if you're listening, watching, and it's available on any of our social media platforms. So, subscribe now, and Matt and I are going to elevate your fantasy baseball experience to that next level. And all right, Matt, jumping back in.
You forgot.
Go jump in, brother.
Forgot the most important part. Listener League. It's the only way you're going to get a spot in the Listener League. You got to join. Totally Look, we got 3 weeks till baseball. We're going to try and draft like pretty much the night before opening day. So we're going to be giving away half the league's spots next week. You got until today, till next week to get in there. You do that, you sign up, and then also you share every post that we post on all the platforms and get an extra entry every time. So do that. And you're going to stand a good chance to get in the league. It was fun last year. You get better this year. All right, let's get back in it. So, yes, now that I rudely interrupted Dom, because I like to do that.
Good. It was your turn anyway, brother. Thoughts on Adley?
So, Adley, for me, I mean, yes, I have him ranked as the catcher too because of the upside, but I don't ever expect to draft him. The price is always unruly for the top two catchers. But the reason why we're highlighting him is because it's just absolutely bonkers. And, Dom, you said it very well. He hasn't performed. He hasn't really lived up to the hype. So therefore, we're going to avoid it. He's not worth that cost. If you're paying that cost, you're pretty much banking your whole season on Adley Rutschman performing. You're buying him at his ceiling and then some. The days of Buster Posey, I think, are gone. So with that, so is Adley Rutschman's hopes right now. Unless he turns it around this year, I ain't trusting it. So avoid at all costs. Let somebody else take that risk, and you take the better player that's obviously coming after him. So let's move on. Let's talk about Cody Bellinger of the now New York Yankees. Not too thrilled that he's on my Yanks. I'm not going to lie. Cody, for me, you're probably looking at me like I'm crazy, but Cody, for me, even though he had a decent season last year, it wasn't like something that would, knock your socks off. Oh, my God, he's going to be this amazing player, even though he's still only 28 years old, going to be 29. It's just been a bit since we've seen, like, the Cody Bellinger. I understand he's battled injuries, but who's to say that's just not going to happen again either? Let's look into it, right? 516 at bats, 72 runs, 23 doubles, 3 triples, 18 home runs, 78 ribs, 9 stolen bases, and batted .266. Look, the year before was much nicer, obviously. First year with the Cubs, but he couldn't repeat that when in his second season, when a year that he was looking for a contract, a year that he was, trying to stay long term. So, I mean, I think the good old days of Cody Bellinger are just gone. Like, yeah, you talk about the benefits of being in the Yankee Stadium, things like that. It's just not enough. Look, last year the average exit velocity was down to 87.8 miles an hour. He only barreled about 6.3% of the time. Only traded hard contact 32% of the time. Launch angle was kind of like flat as can be. He chased a lot. At least he didn't whiff and strike out a lot, but he also didn't walk either. So, like, with that, like, under the hood just doesn't look as good. And I feel like, look, you're going to a used car salesman and he's got his slick back hair. You could see the scalp in the back, and he's wearing like a shirt that has a ketchup stain on the front. And he's saying, look at that car. You're going to walk that car. It's so good. It's so nice. And you drive off the lot, and then the wheels fall off. The rims roll in two different directions. And, your exhaust is just dragging the whole way home. Like, that is literally what it could possibly look like. And I'm not saying like he's going to completely flop. The guy is talented, but Cody Bellinger right now is coming off the board as, pick 92 off the board. And then if you come at the position, right, that's the other part. You're going to have to walk away with Cody as your what? OF 28, not even like, pretty much like a mid-tier OF3. I just don't feel comfortable. I really don't. Like Mike Trout is going right after him. Like Dylan Cruz, Jason Dominguez, Pete Crow Armstrong having a great spring. Okay. Riley Green still has more upside than Cody Bellinger. If Spencer Steer can get healthy, I prefer him. Tyler O'Neill is going way after him. Like, there is guys that I take after him that I just would not want to touch with a 10-foot pole of Cody Bellinger at this point. If he was like an OF4 all day, but OF3, I just can't do it. I can't.
Yeah, man. I think this is the first one we're gonna have to agree to disagree on. I'm buying in. The used car salesman got me. Maybe it was the ketchup stain because I like hot dogs. Sounds like he might have had a hot dog, so I don't know. But I'll say this: last 2 years, Cody, I think, has kind of made that transition. He said, "Listen, I know I'm not going to be that MVP guy anymore." And, it doesn't often get talked about, the other sides of the game. Sometimes we just get caught up looking at numbers on, I was going to say paper, but we look at them on our phone screens, laptops, whatever screen we're looking at them on. And we just say, man, produce numbers. Numbers don't look same. Man, not as good anymore. And we don't think about like, hey, this man was, came up as a 21-year-old, was on an MVP type pace, and then, won MVP and just really had some mind-blowing seasons as, age 21 through 23. Then after that, COVID hit, that in itself was a problem. And then he dealing with injuries and, whatever psychological stuff he was going through and just trying to figure things out, took him a while. It took him a couple of years. Even the 2022, even after the 2022, I was out on Bellinger. I said, absolutely not. He played a full season. There's no excuses anymore. He's done. But then he had a nice 2023 with the Cubs. I was like, okay, I'll move up my rankings going to 24. He looked all right. Has a pretty good 24, not great, but good, 130 games, 72 RBIs, 18 homers, 23 doubles, 78 RBIs, 9 steals, hit 266. The discipline's been really good though over the last few years too. 45 walks to 89 strikeouts. So I think in Yankee Stadium, especially now, with all the injuries and everything, the Yankees kind of banking on him to be somebody. So I think, 25 to 28 homers, good counting stats because he should be hitting in a good spot in the lineup. He can chip you in 10 steals. And hey, can he hit 275? Yeah, of course. He hit 266 last year, 307 the year before. So, Matt, you talked about the ADP. I think he's a good outfielder 3. I think
check the Carfax.
What was that?
Check the Carfax.
Check the Carfax. Nah, yeah, there might be a couple leaky parts, and you could say, hey, listen,
a couple accidents and surgeries.
That's what you say. You say you expect 2 weeks for on the IL from the guy. You know, I'm trying to do the used car salesman thing, but as like I'm talking fantasy baseball, trying to throw in a little bit New York accent on there. But, hey, listen, you can expect a couple weeks on the IL, but, he's still going to do his thing when he's healthy. So, I like Bellinger. I think the ADP is okay. You're kind of going to have to, you listen to Matt's take, you listen to my take, and, you take away what you may. But with that being said, we still have a bunch of great names. We might have to speed run here a little bit on this episode, but we're going to do that after this quick break. We'll be right back.
Okay. Get the supplies you need for the site that is made for skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're into plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order your parts online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus brands, you'll find exactly what you're looking for, what you need, and delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person every time. For trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now is your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/DM and start ordering your plumbing, HVAC, electrical supplies with a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. All right. So, sorry, Cody Bellinger. I hope you're going to walk the same after my take. But Dom, who you got now?
This is I think going to be a fairly quick one because I think he's a big bust around the industry. Willie Adames, he goes over from those Milwaukee Brewers to those San Francisco Giants, and it's not a good spot. It's not a good spot for him. A way worse park to hit in, a way worse lineup, and Willie Adames coming off a contract career year last season. Last year, Adames played in almost every game, was one shy, played in 161 games, had 610 at-bats, 93 runs, which is a career high, 33 doubles, career high, 32 home runs, career high, 112 RBIs, career high, 21 steals, career high. If you kind of catch the drift, a lot of career highs here for Willie Adames, 74 walks, career high. And 251 batting average, unfortunately, not a career high. But you know what? Literally almost across the board, he broke, his own records, like very, 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 very highly. So my thing with Adames is, when you take a look under the hood, X batting average 243. So we're not expecting him to hit, for a great batting average. Honestly, the exit velocity, mediocre. Hard hit rate, mediocre. He strikes out a lot. The sprint speed, literally, as mediocre as you can get percentile. So, when steals, it's kind of always a will, thing, mainly anyway. So he wanted to steal to get that contract. That's why he stole 21 bags last year. Prior to that, he had never stolen more than 8. I would not expect more than 10 steals from this guy. I wouldn't expect more than 25 home runs. And the counting stats in that Giants lineup, if he has 80 RBIs and 80 runs, would be more than I'd expect from him. So once again, if you get 75 runs, 75 RBIs, 25 homers, 8 steals, and a guy's going to hit 248 with his career mark, not worth it to me, especially when the ADP, I feel like, maybe not so much rising, but kind of steadily staying at like the, 85, 90 range, which I have NFBC pulled up over the last month. So once again, 283 drafts on that platform. Pick 86. 11th shortstop off the board. Bo Bichette's going right after him. I'd rather throw my dart that way. Ezekiel Tovar, guy that Matt and I have pegged for a breakout this year, literally going 40 picks later. You can get Anthony Volpe or Xander Bogaerts, 60 picks later. Even Jeremy Pena, going almost 100 picks later, 80 picks later. Not that I like him better, but what, I like the value better. So Willie Adames, to me, bust, avoiding at all costs.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. You look at it like this. You said it perfectly. A career high in every single stat, was looking for a contract, got it, and then landing spot isn't wonderful either. Why would I bother? So I don't really need to say anything other than, just summarizing exactly what you said. So I'm going to move on and I'm going to talk about something that's absolutely bonkers. Bonkers. Like, guys, I know, things are legal now, but let's stop smoking it. Let's Jacob deGrom going as SP13. What are we doing? Guy's coming off TJ, hasn't pitched in 2 years. He got 10 innings last year. On top of that, look, I understand Jacob deGrom, when he's healthy, is probably one of the best pitchers in the league, if not the best. But the problem is you're not going to see 100 innings. We haven't seen 100 innings since 2019. And even if you take out 2020, which was COVID, 92, 64, 30, and I'm not even going to count last year. But he's also going to be 37 this year, returning from TJ that wiped him out for pretty much two seasons. Like, no way is he SP13. You were setting yourself up for failure. Look, I have him ranked because I'm a reasonable, sane person, right? At SP30. I mean, that's still pretty high, but I'll take my shot there as my SP3, not as my SP2. Or not as a guy that you could possibly be like, SP13 too. Sometimes, okay, I could trade in an SP1 and pick up 2 SP2s if I got really high end bats. That you're pretty much saying, okay, I can also walk over Jacob deGrom as my SP1 in certain team constructions because the value's just gotten too good on a bat. No, thank you. Don't do it. Like just put it down. Put it down.
Matt, I'm with you 1,000%. You said SP13. If you look at NFBC over the last month, it's SP12. Can't do it. No way. You broke everything down pretty well. deGrom has not pitched more than 92 innings since 2019. Matt, you said it well. I have him as SP26. If you can get deGrom as your SP3 in your home league, I like that. If you have to pay anything more, probably not doing it. Let's try to sneak a couple more names in here, though. Let's talk about CJ Abrams of those Washington Nationals. He's a weird one for me. I'll say this. Another guy I kind of was expecting the breakout last year. Didn't happen. He's had, a couple full seasons in the bigs, Steele's.
I'm guessing Dom's computer died. So, and that's just a great face if you're watching on YouTube to be frozen on. He looks kind of possessed. But yeah, I'll finish it. So CJ Abrams, honestly, had a really good, first month and then pretty much fell off the face of the planet. The season was kind of like, this is disappointing. 541 at bats, 79 runs, 29 doubles, 6 triples, 20 bombs, 65 ribs, 31 stolen bases, and batted 246. Look, the stolen base numbers are awesome, but the price that he was going at last year, the price that I believe he's going at this year, let's look at it real quick. Because I obviously did not have this up and running because Dom's lovely computer. Pretty much like he's going off the board as ADP of 55.5, and I'm not really trying to deal with that kind of price. I mean, you look at him, and there's guys going right after him that I'm just like, I'll draft over him, like Yamamoto, Michael King, Framber Valdez, Devin Williams. We'll skip Adley Rutschman. I'll pick Abrams over him. But Josh Hader, Pablo Lopez, Shoto Imanaga. I'll skip Willie Adames. But there's other guys that you can just get that are going to produce more. Lawrence Butler, like. There's so many players here that can just perform better, and at the position, like whatever, like guys that haven't been drafted yet at the position. It's like Abrams or him, and it's like, okay, if Abrams at least hit 300, it'd be a different story. But like, no, like, okay, like look, guys coming after him that I would take at the position over him is like Tovar, Horner, Stott, shoot, Matt McLean. It's just like, yeah, it's a little bit more slim pickings, but like I'd rather not pay the high end price and get a guy that's going to contribute in a lot more categories than him and not be a stolen base specialist, essentially, with a 250 batting average on a team that, yeah, they might get more runs because I believe in the team more with Wood and Cruz, but, what's the true upside in terms of the ribs, home runs, and batting average? We haven't seen it. Everything under the hood says, yo, it's not really looking good, bro. Like, no, thank you. So, end of the story here is there's guys going after him that you could really choose to, that are going to be a better contributor, whether it's at pitching or hitting, and just go at a lower tiered, you know, a lower end shortstop, and you'll have a better season overall because you just picked the better player on the board than CJ Abrams. And that's really all that matters. So for me, that's why he's a like, I wouldn't say a boss, but a guy I'm going to avoid because the cost and because there's just other guys that are going to contribute more. So, that's really just about it on him. Unfortunately, Dom can't get a computer to stay alive, just like Royce Lewis can barely stay out on the field. But anyway, guys, please like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, do everything you can to share this show. Quite honestly, it keeps the lights on, and I love doing it. So it's the only way I'm going to be able to do is if you keep sharing this. So, please do that for us. Also, if you want to get in that listener league, join the subtext. Links in the description below, and then share reposts to make sure you sure up a spot. And then when you're done, check out our boy Sully over at Locked On MLB. He'll give you great real baseball coverage. With that, guys, have a great rest of your day. Peace.